Good afternoon, and what is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Friday the 11th of August. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And a box to continue unboxing. So what I've got in here is, first off, all of these, which may well give you a clue as to what the rest of the books are in here. Now, if I pull out the first pack, I've unboxed all of these, and below that I have the next pack. The next, as basically just more pack. Which contains yet more books. From this one, I have already done an unboxing of Conan the Adventurer. And the next one we're going to do is Age of Conan, which is a supplement for Robert E. Howard's Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed of, published by Modiphius using the 2D20 system, and now unfortunately out of print. So, based on Funcom's acclaimed multiplayer online game Age of Conan, the world has entered an age of iron, an age of war, and imperialistic ambition. Some strong men will rise above the ruins of nations as a supreme conqueror. Funcom's Age of Conan MMO was released in 2008 and has brought millions of players into the amazing world of Robert E. Howard. The Age of Conan sourcebook brings the exciting and unique treatment of the Hyborian age of Conan to the tabletop, offering alternative means of play, new character options, alternative versions of areas, and new regions and areas beyond any Howard dreamed of. Set in this variant Hyborian world, the Age of Conan sourcebook adds new thrills and twists to existing Conan campaigns and new opportunities for advancement. With this volume, players can experience the secret war between the diabolic sorcerer Thoth Amon and Calanthes, priest of Ibis, chronicled by the secret scribes. 12 new character archetypes, such as the demonologist, bear, shaman, ranger, and conqueror. Add clans and companions to the characters and build their own guilds to change the world with. Wield new weapons, armor, and equipment from the online game, including potions and a variety of unique relics. Cast powerful new magic, including blast of the elements, gangrenous touch, infernal elements, touch of healing, venom strike. Face new foes such as the Black Ring Fury, Stygian Deathmaster, Dark Beast, Frost Crawler, Blood Defiler, and more. Explore an alternate version of the Hyborian world with locations such as the Sanctum of the Burning Souls, the Dragon's Spine Mountains, the Purple Lotus Swamp, as Atzel's approach, and the Hall of Crom. Let's find out what is inside. Just get the plastic off. There we go. So, it's got a slim volume at just over 100 pages. So we open up, and as with other titles in the series, inside the front end papers you have that front cover artwork sans text, so you can see it in all its full colour glory. And then we have basically credits page and the table of contents. And the familiar and the strange in the introduction really sort of starts talking about the differences between this world of the online multiplayer role-playing game and the tabletop version. And looking at the Age of Conan campaign and how it differs. So discussing what it is, and introduces new character types. So we've got an overview of the campaign before we start looking at new archetypes. And these include mages, and you've got 3 archetypes here: demonologist, necromancer, and herald of Zotli. And in general, in the traditionally sort of like, playing a necromancer and a demonologist is not a good thing in Conan, because basically you're going to be defiled by the very nature of what you're doing, but not so much in a multiplayer online role-playing game. You have 3 new archetypes for priests: Priests of Mitra, Tempest of Set, and Bear Shaman. Adapting these essentially from the computer game to the tabletop version, followed by rogues. So we have different versions of essentially the barbarian, the assassin, and then to that is added the ranger. So what you can do here essentially is come across the computer game and play something familiar, or add a new alternative archetype from the computer game. If you want a player wants to try something slightly different to what's given in the core rulebook. Soldiers, Guardian, Conqueror, and Dark Templar. And then to that we have new talents, such as including Companion, and you've got a list there of sample companions to go with it. So how do you, and with a guide there to how to use companions outside of combat and in combat. And then we go on to idea that your companions can also going to undertake training and have talents themselves. And then equipment, so adds new equipment. We'll be leading a discussion of arms out of time, so weapons from the past, cropping up. And Atlantean weapons, so Atlantean battle axe, Atlantean mace, Atlantean sword, Atlantean, and so on. And then the Kieran weapons, it's all slightly different, and it does the same thing for armor. And gear and foodstuffs. Obviously, in the computer game, you don't necessarily need to sort of like delve down in as detailed fashion to how these actually work, because you're really just going to click on them and they work. But in a computer game, in a non-computer game, in a traditional tabletop role-playing game, you're going to want, you need to know what the mechanics of them are. And here we've got the gear and foodstuffs added. Magic is talking about relics. Such as the Ark of Eternal Winter, the Blade of Enslaving Opiate, the Blade of the Manic Haze, Cackling Marionette, and others. So, Knight of the Silver Twilight Token, Maul of the Raging Earth, Ring of the Astral Sky. Discussion of sorcery, including Bear's Claws, Blast of the Elements, essentially magical powers and spells imported from the computer game. Demonic Forms, Gangrenous Touch, Infernal Protections, and Otherworld Packs. Creating quicksand to slow your opponent down, or touch of healing, or venom strike. And then counters we have is essentially, here are the sort of monsters and enemies that you'll encounter from the Age of Conan. So Black-Ring Soldier or Fury, Kushite Scavenger or Plunderer, Numidian Legionnaire or Centurion, again translated into tabletop role-playing game stats. And then we have Wild Beasts, Ape King, Boar, Giant Toughened Hyena, Lion Toughened Mammoth. So you can go hunting as well for those. Monstrous foes, and they include corrupted bears and wolves, dark beasts, demonic pits, flesh eaters, frost crawlers. They're probably a lot easier to add to a standard game because they don't necessarily change it. And we've also got otherworldly horrors, before we move on to enemies of renown. Including Alpha Bast, the Shadow Master, sort of like end of level, equivalent end of level bosses, Lady Zelandra, and Neftumon. Before we go on to this Hyperreign age and talking about sort of like the Age of Conan Gazetteer, and you know, talking about what the countries of Hyperborea are different, and how in the computer game versus the role-playing game. So we're also accompanied by a rather nice map. So this sort of like you know, adds on to sort of like the content already available, discussing those countries, published in previous volumes in the Age of you know, Conan, an Age of Adventure Undreamed of. So you've got like a gazette. That's the gazetteer, and you've got throughout this, you've got the secret scribe's guide to these countries, saying, you know, here's what's actually really going on, here's what they're really like. And then we have raids and ruins. So ruins to explore, raids to you know, raids to carry out. And here with essentially, you know, this is sort of adapting the structure of a play in the computer game to the play on the tabletop. And in many cases, these raids and ruins can be plundered again and again, played over and over in the computer game. You know, as the player character sort of like levels up, you've got really sort of like a location there, presented in more detail, complete with floor plans. The House of Crom. The Onyx Chambers. And the Pillars of Heaven. The Sanctum of Burning Souls. All making these easy to add to your Conan game. And they've got the guilds and clans, and of course, you know, the idea of guilds and clans is sort of like, you know, it's not just a question of you know, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Yeah, you're all playing alone. Yes, you're all playing alone, but the thing is, the play becomes social if you can form guilds and clans, and we have rules for those, and cooperation, and bringing your players together, and benefits from joining a clan. And lastly, we have discussion of adventures and campaigns inspired by the Age of Conan, which covers minor deeds, and great deeds, the sort of things that sort of like you can weave into an ongoing campaign, and play that through. So yeah, and yeah, you've got the artwork repeated again at in the end papers. So yeah, that's the Age of Conan for you know, Robert E. Howard's Conan: Adventures in an Age Undreamed of, published by Modiphius Entertainment for the Conan role-playing game. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. So if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box containing a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing Nook. We'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.